Lesson 652, Factoring Trinomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c. To factor t squared plus 14t plus 24, we need to look for the factors of positive 24, the constant term, that sum to be positive 14, the coefficient of the linear term. Notice where those numbers 24 and 14 come from. Remember that factors are numbers that we multiply together to produce another number. So, when we look for the factors of 24, we need to find all of the numbers that multiply to be 24. And notice, we specifically want positive 24. That means our possibilities include 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. But our list should also include negative 1 times negative 24, negative 2 times negative 12, negative 3 times negative 8, negative 4 times negative 6. Now that we have our list of possible factors of 24, we need to determine which ones sum to positive 14. In other words, which factors add together to make positive 14. Out of all our factors, only 2 and 12 fit both requirements. They multiply to be positive 24 and sum to positive 14. There are others that are close, but only this pair is a match. Once we have these numbers, we now place each of them into a binomial to yield the quantity of t plus 2, that is my first factor, and the quantity of t plus 12. The sign of the factors helps to determine if the number is added or subtracted to the variable. So, the factors of t squared plus 14t plus 24 are the quantity of t plus 2 times the quantity of t plus 12. Now let's try this problem with algebra tiles. In this problem, we need 1 square term, 14 linear terms, and 24 units. Together, the area covered by all of the tiles represents the trinomial. This will be important to remember because when we factor, we are trying to figure out the binomials that multiply to be this trinomial. To make this process easier, we must organize the algebra tiles into a rectangle, and sometimes that takes some work. If you would like, pause the video until you have the tiles arranged into a rectangle. If you need a hint, start by placing the squared tile in the upper left of your rectangle. Then add on the linear tiles and finally the unit tiles, in that sequence. We must keep adjusting the arrangements of the tiles until we get a rectangle. However, knowing the combinations of the numbers that sum to 14 and multiply to be 24 helps with the process. This goes back to the question of, what numbers multiply to be positive 24 and add to positive 14? Oh yeah, the numbers 2 and 12 do that. Notice, if we organize our rectangle with a set of 2 linear terms along one edge and 12 linear terms along the other, then it works. Now that we have our rectangle, we can read the dimensions of the binomials along each side. Because length times width is how we calculate the area of the rectangle, these dimensions will be our binomial factors. Along the top, we see the dimension of the quadratic term is t, and the length of each linear term is 1 unit across each edge of those tiles. So, 1 t tile and 12 unit tiles means our factor is t plus 12. The dimensions of the binomial along the side of our rectangle measure t for the quadratic term, and then 1 for each linear term. Since there is 1 t tile and 2 unit tiles, our factor along this side edge is t plus 2. So, t squared plus 14t plus 24, in factored form, is equivalent to the quantity of t plus 12 times the quantity of t plus 2